Welcome to Uganda Catholic Television, Good News for All. I welcome you to our Responsible Citizenship series, and my name is Dr. Kiiza Emmanuel Aliba. I'm the National Executive Secretary of the Justice and Peace Department of Uganda Episcopal Conference. This is our 6th episode, and we are happy to present to you one of the very good topics that affect us as human beings. You remember the last time we were here, we talked about work, the importance of work, the value of work, and how we can approach work as human beings, both at the place of work and at home. Today, related to work, we come with another topic of leisure, because we were young when we used to hear about work without play made John a dull boy. That in work, we should work, but again we should remember to have leisure. The importance of leisure is what we are going to look at today in this 6th series. Leisure, let's first see the meaning of leisure. Leisure is a time when a person is not working or is not occupied. People call it a free time. The time when I am not at work. The time when I am not occupied. It is free time. Again, leisure is the use of our free time. So it is a time to be free, but it is also the use of that time when I am free. Also, leisure is also an opportunity afforded by free time to do something. Now, there can also be some lucrative work in leisure. So leisure is free time, is how I use the free time, but also is a time to do something in that free time. And somebody else also described it as the time for relaxing, the time for cooling it off, the time for being there and feeling a good atmosphere, feeling, some good life within you, a time when you are not at work. This time, you who are watching Uganda Catholic Television, this time is important. A time to be free is very important. Very many of us, we want to work. The Baganda say, ensite kungulwa, tugiriako makola, that you cannot win the whole world. You eat what you are able to, and you leave the world. So if you work as if you are carrying the entire world, you want to amass all the wealth, and without putting some time to rest, to be free, you will tear down, you will wear down, and your output will be affected. So leisure is very important in our lives. That free time that you get out of your schedule and say, this is my free time, is very important. To show how important it is, let's trace it in our Bible. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, listen to what it said. By the 7th day, God completed his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had done. God himself rested. He worked for 6 days. Then he put the 7th day as a day of rest. Now, if our Creator, the one who created the world, puts a day of rest, who are we not to put time to relax? Who are we not to put time for leisure? So, according to Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, God himself rested. And we should emulate the good example that God is showing us. When you come to Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 to 10, this is what is there. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is a Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work. You, your son, your daughter, your servant, your cattle, your visitor, including the visitor who comes to your home. You should not do work on Sabbath. So God commanded a special time for us, a Sabbath. I hear many people go for sabbatical. I hear there are a number of years a priest has to serve, and after that he gets a sabbatical, a rest, to gain that new energy so that you gain new ideas. The body also rejuvenates. Then when you come back from a sabbatical, you are able to do much more after the body and the mind have relaxed. So the Sabbath, God starts a Sabbath and commands that man should respect that day of the Sabbath, the day of rest. The same in Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12 to 15. God still says, you observe the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3, it also says the same thing, that in 6 days you should do your work, but the 7th day, the Sabbath, except here in Leviticus, he brings something to make it stronger, that you shall have a complete rest. Not a partial rest, but a complete rest. A holy convocation. You shall not do any work. It is a Sabbath. You have to rest. Now, the same when we come to Psalms, the psalmist in chapter 23, verse 2, the psalmist says, you remember that psalm is what we know as the Lord is my shepherd, but there is that verse 2, he says, he makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. That is the psalmist. That the Lord is my shepherd. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Lying down in green pastures, that's a very heavy statement. To lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. That is a time of complete rest. A time of relaxing the mind, a time of relaxing the body. So that time is very important, and we need to have it as the Bible is teaching us. We look at the New Testament. Look at Matthew 11, verse 28. And Jesus is saying in this Matthew 11, 28, he says, come to me, all you who are heavy laden. Come to me, all you who are weary. Come to me, all you who are tired, and I will give you rest. So remember to rest in the Lord. Don't just take a rest. Jesus is saying, let us rest in the Lord. Let us keep in the Lord as you rest. I think one of the things is for those who have a prayer book, as you rest, you could read one of the scriptures. You could also sing a hymn. So what Jesus is saying, let us rest in the Lord. So once we are tired, we are heavily laden, we go and rest in the Lord. The purpose of rest, And Jesus is saying, rest in me. If you are tired, come to me and I will give you rest. So rest is very important in our lives, a time to be off work, a time to relax the mind and body. It's very important. Look at Mark chapter 6, verse 31 to 32. And he said to them, come away by yourselves to a secluded place and rest a while. You know, there were many people coming in and out where Jesus was with his disciples. They had spent a day without eating. Then Jesus advised his disciples and says, come to a quiet place and have a rest, you know. So Jesus advises his disciples to come to a quiet place and have a rest. Rest is important in our lives. And we really have to obey our bodies. We really have to obey, you know. Otherwise, we burn out. Our bodies, even the machine. I went to Kinyara Sugar Works one day. I found in the machines were not working on that day. Said, today the machines have to rest. We have to clean them, and so that we prepare them for another phase altogether. So there is a time when also the machines have to rest. Now, how about you? My brother, my sister, you who are watching Uganda Catholic Television, you need some time off your busy schedule. You need some time to rest. Look at Mark chapter 2, verse 27. Jesus said to them, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. So the rest is meant for you. The Sabbath is meant for you. Why does God tell you to rest? He knows if he himself rested, you need the rest also. So he made a Sabbath for you to rest. Look at St. Paul writing to the Corinthians in his first letter to the Corinthians. Says, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do everything to the glory of God. So he brings another perspective of a rest. That whenever you are resting, remember to do everything for the glory of God. So you ask yourself, as you go take a rest, are you doing everything to the glory of God? Whether you are, some of you would like to take a rest. I've been to Zanzibar. I have a friend who has just wedded. He just 2 weeks back, I think. He went to Zanzibar to rest with his wife. Many people call it a honeymoon. You know, the wedding is very hectic. You know, you are thinking of having money. You don't know whether you will succeed. The matoke, you have not yet had enough rice. The kilograms of meat, you are there. So after you have made it, you take a rest so that the body rejuvenates, and then you come back and start life normally. So my friends have been in Zanzibar. They have been sending me pictures. There's another one whom I know also after the wedding, he went to Dubai. You know, for you people who have been in Dubai, you know what I'm talking about. You know, when you go to Dubai, like when you are moving along the waters and you are having your dinner in a boat, you know, there is a cruise, you know, you feel good, you rest, you know. I one time, you know, went to monitor elections in Kenya, the past elections actually. So they sent me to go and monitor in Mombasa. That was my best time. I would monitor during the day, and in the evening, I wear my shorts and I go to the beach. You know, in Mombasa, you put on your shorts. So I was hitting two birds with the same stone. I am working, but at the same time, I am resting in the evening. So the time for rest is very important, and we need to pay particular attention to it. Even when you look at when St. Paul is writing to his friend Timothy, in the first letter of St. Paul to Timothy, chapter 5, verse 13, he says, at the same time, they also learn to be idle as they go around from house to house. And not merely idle, but also they gossip, talking about things not proper to mention. So St. Paul is telling Timothy to be careful with how he utilizes the time for leisure, the time for rest. He says, don't be idle going around gossiping and so on. So there is a teaching there that leisure time is very important for us. We cannot manage to misuse it by entering into the misbehavior that Paul is warning against. Now, when you look at the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 11, and the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. They have no rest day and night. Those who worship the beast and his image, and whoever received a mark of his name. Now, that is another warning about not misuse of leisure. Because once you misuse leisure and enter into behavior that is not acceptable in our Catholic social teaching, in our religion, then the actions that you do will follow you up even when you go to face the Almighty. So this is kind of misuse of leisure. So leisure is not only important in the Bible, in the Old Testament and New Testament, it is also very important traditionally. In our Catholic tradition, in our African tradition, it is key. Time for leisure, we valued it so much. Our ancestors valued it so much. It was a time for the families to gather together. Like in the evening, they come under, when there is full moonlight, they sit outside after a heavy work, after a meal. Then they begin educating the young ones under the moon. They tell stories. That time was a time for coming together as a family to enjoy together. Leisure also in the African tradition was an active leisure, not passive. Everybody would contribute. Even if it is saying, I remember for us, we used to have sayings, say, koi, koi, then they all repeat, rukwebe. The communality of leisure, people staying together and actively participating, So, and leisure was kind of mixed up with work. Time for leisure is time to go and fetch firewood. Time for leisure is to go and fetch water, And as you are fetching water, you are making fun. As you are fetching firewood, that is when you get some fruits in the forest you eat. So leisure was mixed up a little bit. And leisure was very educative. People are learning a lot from each other. The parents were teaching through leisure. It was very educative. That's when children would ask their parents at night and the evenings when they are seated outside, say, but father, what that's when a child comes so close to the father, a child comes so close to the mother. So a time for leisure. So the African tradition also valued leisure so much. And it was through leisure that good relationships were built. You remember in one of the topics we did, building good relationships. So through leisure, the African tradition, that's when the children would feel together with their parents, with their relatives, and so leisure was very educative in the African tradition. However, we have to take this cautiously when we are having leisure, that we don't misuse our leisure. Because I am seeing it, even in this society of ours, especially among the youth, among the young people, there is somewhere we can misuse the leisure. And we are going to stop here so that we get our commercial break, but remember not to misuse leisure. So when we come back, I will be showing you how we can misuse leisure, which we must guard against, because leisure is something good. Leisure is something meant for us by God to relax our bodies, to relax our minds, and to build good relationships, to build a better society. So we really need to use it very well. We have to guard against the misuse of leisure. So dear people who are watching the Uganda Catholic Television, good news for you. This is why we come with this series, so that we focus on key important areas of our life. We focus on how is our society now moving on, but with the aim of being responsible citizens, responsible people in society, responsible, Ugandans. We need to be responsible Ugandans. And last time as we were talking, even when we are working, we be as responsible as possible. And at the same time, even when we go for leisure, we be as responsible as possible. Because if we don't cater for our bodies, if we don't look after them, if we don't give them a good rest, we shall break down. So in order for me to be a responsible citizen, I have to work, but I have also to have time to go for leisure. I one time saw people going, to watch the eclipse of the sun. Was it eclipse of the sun? Many people went to watch the eclipse of the sun. You could see everybody, they were in a very relaxed mood, This is it. And people have really to take leisure very important. I've seen it when I move out of the country. Somebody will work for 3 years and will say, for 1 month, I will spend that month in Switzerland. So someone will move from Canada and go to Switzerland just to rest. And even when you give that person a call, you will never get him on the phone. Why? He or she is resting. So let's value the importance of rest. We value the importance of work, but also we value the importance of rest. Thank you for watching Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all, and we shall be right back. We meditate now and see how can we misuse leisure. So when we come back, that's what we shall do. Thank you for watching Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all.
UCTV, good news for all.
Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to Uganda Catholic Television, good news for all. And thank you for loving our program, Responsible Citizenship, where we look at how we can be responsible in society, and we need to be responsible human beings in society. We have just been talking about the importance of having free time, the importance of leisure. It's not the rich who should go for leisure. Everyone. You only need to balance where you go so that you don't deplete the resources that you would have to do other things, you know? Like if I know Sheraton is not my level, I know possibly Pop Paul will be my level. So instead of going to Sheraton, we shall go to Pop Paul. Mind you, the level of enjoyment may be different, but the enjoyment itself will be the same. Because that is the level where you are. Just accept yourselves. And you know, this is the level where I am. And I will spend my leisure time according to the level that I am on. Let's not overstretch ourselves for leisure. No, we balance. But it is important. Take him out. Take her out. Take your family out. Have a meal outside the normal environment. Surprise each other. This is what strengthens families. Surprise one another. You call mommy, say, my wife, mommy, today you are not cooking. We are going to eat at somewhere else with the entire family. Once a month, you say now, let us, you know, my wife always has to come back from work. She's tired. She has to cook. She has to do this. But at least once a day in 30 days, let me take her off so that we, you know, that day you take her off, that day rejuvenates her, and you see the whole of the next month she will work very well because she knows my husband values me as an individual. So as a family, learn to have that time. Don't wait for you to get a lot of money. You may not get it. Use the little that you have to ensure that you have some good time once in a while. We call it the seventh day. Others, you know, that seventh day should always be there, the day of rest. You know, there should be no reason really for not having a special day for yourselves to be out there. You know, let's not take life so tough as if we are carrying the entire world. No. There should be some good time when you rest, when you relax, when you know. And that time, sometimes, if you are living two of you, the husband and wife, all your children have gone to school, why not have some time out? Be by yourselves. Here, the psalmist called it by the cool waters. You be in the green pasture, you know. It is important to have some time of rest. It is important to have some time to relax. Our bodies need to relax. Our minds need to relax. That time is important, and we need to create that time. However, there is a way now we can misuse this time for leisure. Especially you, my young people, you, the young generation. I'm seeing many of you misusing leisure. And we need to come back to normal. We need to come back to the real meaning of leisure. For example, you spend a lot of time on leisure. You who are still at school and are watching me, you are at school. So as soon as you come back, it's as if you have been chased from school. You throw the bag away. You sit and you are glued on television. You are watching you know, there are these films that are continuous. One leads you into another. You are spending 2 hours on one film. Immediately they say, don't stop, another one is coming, because they make sure that one feeds into another. The other one also will spend 3 hours. Those are 5 hours. You are watching. You know, sometimes somebody can even pass by and you don't recognize the person because you are all glued onto the film, you know. Don't spend too much time on leisure. That's why even God did not spend 6 days on leisure and 1 day for work. No. He spent 7 days at work, 6 days at work, and rested for only 1 day. So those films, you need to reduce them. Reduce the number of, you who are watching me, please reduce on watching those films. Some of you take too long on watching soccer, football. You want to watch, you know, from morning. Now when Premier League is, you switch off to another league, you switch on to another league. Don't spend too much time on leisure. We have to balance. Unless leisure is your industry. There are people who invest in leisure. I will tell you as we move towards the end. There are people who invest in leisure. If you're investing in leisure, it's okay, because for you, leisure is a business. You are helping others to be entertained. You entertain others, and that is how you get your business. If you are investing in leisure, there's no problem. You can spend time there. But if you are just enjoying leisure, you know, sometimes at a cost, reduce on the hours, because you have to work more than you relax. Let's work for 6 days and rest for 1 day. Let us respect that principle. If you have come back from school at 6 p.m. and you want to watch films from 6 to 10, now, who is helping in the kitchen? Now, how about the homework that you came with from school? Now, how about, you know, we have to balance leisure. But the formula, God gave it to us. 6 hours of work, 1 day of rest. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. That is the formula. Turn it into hours, you can calculate that. Turn it into months, you can calculate that. But that should be the formula. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. So, my young children, don't spend too much time on leisure unless it is for you an industry. I've seen you now abusing leisure also in, you know, alcoholism, drug abuse. That since it is time for leisure, let me cool off my head also, so that I confuse it a little bit. Why do you confuse your head? Why do you confuse your head? You know, God created you as an intelligent person. Then why do you want to confuse the head and you become now what? The intelligence ceases to work because of the drugs. I've seen somebody is just not on this planet. The body is here, but the mind is out of the body because of the drug abuse. My young people, that is not good. Don't confuse your beautiful heads. Don't confuse your handsome heads. We need sober minds. You need sobriety. You must be sober 24/7. Don't say, I take this drug to confuse the body. When you confuse the head, you confuse the whole body, because the head is the engine. You know, this is your engine. Don't confuse the head. The head should always remain sober. you know. So alcoholism, drug abuse, call it, it's not good for you, young people. If you are involved in it, stop. Just stop it, so that you have a clear mind, a clear mind, a healthy mind in a healthy body. That's, I think, the Latin, I don't know whether I say it well, mensa sana in corpore sano. A healthy mind in a healthy body. That is what we want of you, our young people. Don't misuse leisure. You know, I've seen, for those who have overspent in leisure, some have got their marriages broken and their family relations are no more. I think we have really to balance leisure, and we have to be sympathetic to each other. This one, we discussed it when we were building good relationships. Let your leisure time not inconvenience others. That one. Let your leisure time not inconvenience others. You spend time for leisure, but don't inconvenience others. How do you do this? For example, the husband. You are a husband to a wife. You are a father to children. After work, you go for leisure. And by the time you end socializing, it is midnight. You drive back home. Mind you, when you are driving back home, most likely the children and the wife are not sleeping. Whichever hits the iron sheet up, they wake up knowing you are coming. Whatever touches, even if a bird or a cat knocks the door, they are up. They say you are coming, and you are not there. So in other words, your enjoyment of leisure is inconveniencing others. Let's avoid this one. As we enjoy our leisure, let's put that I must be considerate to the people I am staying with. Once you are considerate, it's okay. So have to balance. You have to balance your leisure time considering other people. So that is very key. Let's not be individualistic. Say, for me alone, this is me alone. No. If you are a husband to a wife, you are a father to children, ensure that your leisure time does not encroach on their peace. Not only peace, but also on resources. If you know 6 bottles are too much for you, because tomorrow you have to pay school fees, please go and have one. Let the 5 compensate the transport you will use for your child to go to, to a school. So let's learn to balance our leisure activities so that we don't encroach on the family resources. So whichever form of leisure you choose, ensure that you don't inconvenience others, so that you don't inconvenience the people who depend on you. So we have to balance between the leisure we choose and also the responsibilities that we are having. So leisure, as we say, is very important. And, we end now by seeing what is the importance of leisure in our lives. Do we need leisure? Is it important? That leisure time, is it important? Yes, it is, because number one, leisure rejuvenates the body and soul. It's kind of recreating the body and the soul. You feel after you have rested, the following day you feel different, because the body has rested, your mind has rested, now you are all rejuvenated. That's why I'm saying, please have some time for leisure. Have some time and be free to yourselves so that your body and mind can be rejuvenated. Leisure is also healing. You heal when you are burned out by work and you decide to stop a little bit and have the body relax. It's like you are healing the body. And there are those now that when they are, they have some time for, when they are free, they go in for like running around. As you run around, you burn your fats here and there. There are those who go into a gym during time for leisure. They sweat, they burn a lot of calories and so on. Some go to a sauna and steam bath, some go to massage. So leisure is healing. Leisure is healing. So let's take leisure seriously because it is kind of a healing process. Leisure is also innovative. There are people who make a lot of innovations in leisure. It's innovative, you know. There are people who compose hymns during leisure. Somebody starts compose a hymn from nowhere. You find he arranges or she arranges the notes so well, and a hymn is composed. You know, there are those who use leisure to, you know, to do some, you know, some innovations here and there. So let's use also time for leisure to innovate some new things in society. Also, leisure communicates important messages in an entertaining manner. You know, when you look at how these comedians, I sometimes when I have some time, I watch Kansime, you know, comedians. I watch them sometimes, but the messages they are giving are so powerful. But they give them, we are laughing, the way they package their messages, we are being entertained, but also they are passing very important lessons through the comedy that we watch, through the songs, you know. There was the man who passed on in Bunyoro. He was a folk tailor. He used to sing very well, but the songs were so heavy. We had nicknamed him one of the hymns that he put, Kinyamunungu. When you follow that hymn of Kinyamunungu up to the end, you learn a lot. There are a lot of powerful messages that he gives in a very, you know, in a very light way, but he's passing on a message. So leisure is also, leisure builds good relationships. You know, when you are off by yourselves, you don't come back the same. Like my friend I was talking about, they have been in Zanzibar for a week. I don't think they will come back the same. You know, the relationship is stronger because you have given each other time. Please, during leisure, give each other time. You know, the presence, something we call presence, is very important. Be present. Give each other time. Let her talk. You also talk. Appreciate one another. Let the children talk. Listen to them. You know, if you are going into a cultural dance and a child feels like dancing, let him or her dance. You know, give each other time, communicate with each other, you know, during time for leisure, and ensure that the relationships are stronger so that when you come back home, when you come back for work, things don't remain the same. So that is the usefulness of leisure. Leisure is also lucrative. There are people who have made a fortune. in leisure. There are many. There are millionaires who have made a fortune in leisure. You know, someone who specializes in dancing. You know, in every wedding, you hear there are cultural dancers. Now, cultural dancers are not brought in for free. They are paid. So when you pay them, they make a fortune. There are those who are gifted entertainers. For us in Bunyoro, we have Ijime family. You bring Ijime family on your wedding, then you know it's going to be colorful because they are gifted in, entertaining the Ijime family. We have a number of, a number of those groups around town. So they have made leisure a lucrative business. They have made leisure, something entertaining, but also it is a business, So all in all, you who are watching Catholic television, Good News for All, before we end this program, I would like to thank you for loving our television. And it's an instrument that we are going to use to reach you. And for you also to interact with us. Like I'm from the Catholic Secretariat, I'm from the Justice and Peace Department. So we have been having a lot of messages that we have passed on through, through seminars, through workshops, through, like we have one program called Deepening Multi-Party Democracy in Uganda. We have moved to train districts in Uganda. But now we have a special privilege of the Uganda Catholic Television, where we are passing on these messages to you, we interact with you, and you are free to give us your feedback. There are many channels here, we shall be getting the feedback. And when I come back here the next time, we shall yet treat another topic, the role of good leadership in our society. What's the role of leadership? So when we come back, we shall treat that topic very well. And very soon, we shall begin giving you the different messages our Catholic bishops of Uganda have written to you through their letters. We call them pastoral letters. We have compiled all of them. So every time we come here, we shall be giving you one by one until we reach that level when we really deepen our faith. Our faith changes us into responsible citizens. I want to stop here. I thank you for listening, for viewing, and for watching Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for you. Keep watching this television. Support this television. We need your support out there. Sponsor the programs that you would like to sponsor here. We would like this is our instrument of our faith, of our good news, to always be of relevance to you. Until we meet again, have a wonderful time. Keep watching Uganda Television. Good News for All.